name is Jason. I am your moderator and host, so you don't have to listen to me very often, which is good for you. Couple of things before we get started. We are broadcasting this live on YouTube, so everyone who's joining us on YouTube, we want to thank you for joining us there. And for those of you that are here in the webinar software, thank you for taking time out of your evening and joining us as well. Tree Florm is our director of our Lincoln office. He is here to tell you everything that you need to know about how to earn scholarships. But before we get there, I have one question. We just like to kind of have a little bit of engagement here, a little bit of kind of trivia night, as we'll call it. So I looked up some random statistics on scholarships today. And so if you would take a minute and in chat on YouTube or here in the platform, just let us know how many scholarships do you think are known awards every year? So basically, how many scholarships exist in the United States every year that you might be eligible and might meet the requirements to apply for? No prize, unfortunately, just bragging rights. So at the end of the broadcast, when we come to the Q&A section with Treve, I'll come back on and I'll let you guys, I'll let you know the answer, and we'll tell you who is the closest, let's say. So you can look forward to that at the end of the broadcast. But until then, Treve, this is your show. It's got a lot of good information for everyone about scholarships, so take it away.
All right. Thank you, Jason. As Jason mentioned, my name is Treve Florm. I'm Director of College Planning and Outreach Services for Education Quest in our Lincoln office. Education Quest Foundation is a private nonprofit with a mission to improve access to higher education in Nebraska. We have offices in Lincoln, Omaha, Kearney, and Scotts Bluff. So wherever you are in our state, you can get assistance with finding scholarships, college planning, or even the financial aid, the FAFSA form, or the free application for federal student aid. You can find that contact information on our website at educationquest.org. And all of our services and assistance to you are free of charge. So if you have any questions or need any assistance, feel free to contact any of our offices. And you can set up an appointment, or you can just call in with your questions. We're going to talk about how to earn scholarships today. So a lot of things that go into scholarships. So first thing we're going to talk about are the different types of scholarships available. Now, many people think because I don't get straight A's or I'm not the star athlete on the sports team, then I'm not going to be eligible for scholarships. But as you learn here, there are all types of scholarships for all types of students. So if you put in the work and look around and do the searches, there's a good chance that you will qualify for some scholarships. First type of scholarship we're going to talk about today are the career-based scholarships. Now, these are scholarships that are going to be based on what your major is and what career you want to go into when you go to college. So every major will have scholarships associated with it, whether you're going into the medical field, the science field, education, computer science, even the technical programs like a welding or electrician programs are going to have scholarships available. So when you fill out the scholarship profiles and the searches, you want to make sure that you are putting in the career that you want to major in and see what's available as far as the career-based scholarships for you. The second type are going to be the more known type, the academic scholarships. So these may be based on grade point average or GPA, ACT or SAT score. They can be class ranked, different things like that. Now, again, you don't have to have a 4.0 GPA or a 30 on your ACT to qualify for academic scholarships. Each scholarship will have its own portion of what their academic requirements are. So you want to look through those scholarships. And again, when you do the searches, it's going to ask you questions about your academics. The next type of scholarships are going to be college-based scholarships, and they are exactly what they sound like, scholarships from the college that you want to attend. Now, there are three things you really need to know about college-based scholarships. Number one, what do they have available? Now, all colleges, whether they're 2-year, 4-year, public, private, any type of college is going to have those scholarships. The best way to find that out is going to be checking their websites under their financial aid webpage. You can contact the colleges, talk to the admissions or financial aid office, and they can help you with that. Or if you're on a campus tour, that's a great time to ask about what scholarships they might have available. Now, number 2, you want to know what the application process is. Many schools now are using their admissions application as their scholarship application, so you can get that all done in one fell swoop. Some other schools may have a separate scholarship application to get into all of their scholarships, and then some may have individual scholarship applications for each scholarship. So you need to know what that process is at the schools you are looking at. And the third thing is you have to know their deadlines, because if you miss the deadlines, you're going to be ineligible for any scholarships at that school. And colleges are great for having freshman scholarships, but they're also really good for upperclassmen scholarships. So your second, third, fourth year in college, make sure you're really talking to the colleges about what they have for upperclassmen scholarships. Another form of scholarship is going to be financial need. Now, financial need can come in a variety of ways, and we all know that most people going to college have some sort of financial need. This can be based on parent income. It can be based on programs such as free and reduced lunch, but many of them will take what's called the expected family contribution, and that is figured out by your FAFSA form or your free application for federal student aid. And that's why that's so important for seniors to do as early as possible, so they have that information. Now, after you've completed the FAFSA, you will receive what's called a student aid report, and that will have the information that many scholarships need. So they will ask you to upload or send in your student aid report so that they have that information to know what your financial need is. Hey, other types of scholarships are going to be activity-based or talent-based. So it can be something, sports is one that's well known, but again, it can be any activities that you might be involved in while you're in school or outside of school. Civic organizations or volunteer work are great ways to qualify for scholarships. They can be based on parent activities, so things that your parents are involved in outside of school, and even grandparents if they're in civic groups such as the Elks or Eagles clubs or VFWs or Legion, Rotary, Optimus clubs. All of those types of things usually have scholarships available for dependents of members of those. So make sure if your parents are involved in that, or like I said, even grandparents, those are great ways to get those. Music, art, photography, all kinds of different scholarships available there. So any activity you might be involved in, check with them and whoever leads those programs and see what scholarships might be available. And if there's maybe some state organizations or national organizations involved with your programs, check with those too. They may have some scholarships for students at the state or national level. Okay, a little bit of a reality check here for athletic scholarships. Again, I know we all would like to be able to get that full ride scholarship and get all college paid for by playing our sport we love. But as you can see here, some of the stats on that, 7.4 million high school students nationwide play, and 460,000 of those will go on to play college athletics, according to the NCAA. So that's 6% of all high school athletes will go on to play in college. And of that 6%, not of the 7.4 million, but of that 6% that go on to compete, only 2% of them are offered athletic scholarships. And many of those are not even full ride scholarships. They're partial scholarships. So again, while it's great that you are competing in your activities and your sports. And if you want to go on to college and do those, that's great also. But don't rely that you're going to be able to get a scholarship to pay for college, especially a full ride through athletics. Okay, a little bit about searching for scholarships. Now, again, back to a little bit on the types of scholarships. There may be scholarships that incorporate all kinds of those different things. So it could be a financial need component, an activity component, and academic component. So there may be several of those components that make up the eligibility for the scholarship. So again, that is all based on the people who decide the scholarship and are giving out the money. So when searching for scholarships, there's a lot of great places to do that. The first place you should always check is the school counselor. They're going to have those local and countywide scholarships that are based on what's going on in your school and your community. And those are going to be the best scholarships to start with because they're going to be a smaller pool of applicants in there. The next, as we had talked about before, is going to be your college. So make sure you're really putting in the time to find out what the college has available for you. Scholarship Quest is a Nebraska-based search at educationquest.org that we've put together. It has over 2,000 scholarships in it, and they are Nebraska-based. On our website, again, you can sign up for a My Education Quest account, and then you can do the Scholarship Quest, and it will save your information in there, and you can go back and it can update as new scholarships become available throughout the year. And so I really recommend doing Scholarship Quest on our website at educationquest.org. Another places we kind of talked about before are private organizations that you're involved in as a student in school or out of school. Again, parents, grandparents, civic organizations, employers, different things like that. So there's a lot of scholarships out there from private organizations. So when you're out in your community, go ahead and check those out, and you can ask them. The worst answer you'll get is, no, we don't have a scholarship. Okay, and then there's also the free internet sites. Now, you need to be careful when going out and Googling scholarships because you'll get a couple billion pages probably of that, and you won't be sure what's a legitimate scholarship search and what isn't. When you go onto our Scholarship Quest page, we have links to around 10 national scholarship searches that are free and that won't sell your information and are good sites that we have checked out and we recommend. So I would start with there if you're doing national searches. And just, again, be careful and don't ever pay for scholarship services. Whether it's a scholarship search or a scholarship application, there's enough free services out there that you can get that information for free and do all that searching without having to pay for anything. Okay, then just some tips to help you when you're getting ready to do scholarships. First one is, again, create that My Education Quest account on educationquest.org. Along with that, on our website, we have an activities resume, which is really handy for tracking those activities and those awards and those things that students have been involved in. And many times you can attach that with your scholarship application and send that in with it so that the organization will know everything that you're involved in. And again, it's a great way to track all that as you go through school, whether you're a senior now or whether you were freshman, sophomore, or junior. It's a good time to get started on that so you have all that organized. A good way to organize your scholarships is by deadline order, so as they come, because scholarships will go throughout your school year. Okay, so we really recommend organizing by scholarship deadline and by the amount of work put into a scholarship. Some scholarships will have essays that you'll have to write. So you want to give yourself more time to do that. Or if you need a letter of recommendation, you'll want to have time to have that letter written. So know what the requirements are for the scholarship, including the deadline, so that you're more organized and you can do it as you go through the semester. And set aside time each night or each week to work on scholarships, maybe an hour or two on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. That'll make it a lot easier than trying to do it all over a weekend or sitting down and trying to do a bunch of scholarships at one time. If you do a couple a week, that should suffice, and you should get a lot of scholarship applications done and have a chance at a lot of scholarship money. Okay. Again, focus on the college-based and local scholarships, because again, those are going to have smaller pools of applicants, and you'll have a better chance of getting those. Now, they may not be as big of money, like the $5,000 or $10,000 scholarships. They may be $250 or $500 or up to $1,000. But again, if you receive several of those, and you can get the local ones, that money does add up in a hurry for you. And again, keep your activities resume updated. Those are very handy to have. You have all your information in one place. And know what those criteria are for the scholarship. So if you've taken your ACT test and you see a scholarship that maybe you need a point or two more for, you can retake that ACT or SAT and try to improve that score so you do meet that requirement. We mentioned a little bit ago letters of recommendation. If you need those, you'll have to ask somebody to write those for you, whether it's one of your instructors, somebody in your community, a mentor of some sort. But the main thing is you need to give them time to do that. Don't stop in on Thursday and say, hey, can you write me a letter of recommendation? I have a scholarship due tomorrow. You want to give them, I would say, a minimum of 2 weeks would be best. Even longer than that is better, because many of these teachers or mentors or coaches or whoever may be writing that are probably going to be writing for more than one student. So if you get yours in early and give them the time to do a good recommendation, then that's to your benefit and going to make your scholarship application a lot better. The other thing you can do is, if you have your activities resume, you can hand it to them with that letter of recommendation request and say, these are the things I would like you to focus on. Maybe you're looking for a leadership scholarship. So you can say, here's my leadership activities, and could you focus on those? Or maybe it's a community service scholarship. So you want them to know about your community service. And the more personalized they can make it about the things that you've done and been involved in, the better off your scholarship application is going to be. And that letter of recommendation is going to be better for you also. When writing the essay, again, the best thing you can do is have somebody look it over for you. English teachers are great for that, obviously, but again, they may have every student asking them to look those over. So you may have another teacher or a coach or even friends look it over. Have more than one person look that over so that you can make sure it's a quality essay and you don't have typos or grammar problems or anything like that, because that can distract from even the best applications if you have an essay with typos or grammatical errors in it. Okay. And again, with doing scholarships, we say do a lot of applications, do it over time. So you're going to put some time into this, but it's going to be well worth it. If you think about it as how much you can make per hour, like at maybe your part-time job that you work, if you spend 10 hours looking for scholarships and applying, you earn $1,000 in scholarships. That means you just made yourself $100 per hour. So that's a pretty good paycheck right there. And again, The more time you put in and the more organized you are with that, the better off you're going to be. So don't hesitate to put in that time, and you may not get every scholarship. You probably won't get every scholarship that you apply for. But if you put enough out there, you'll do a really good job of getting that money for college. Now, here's a couple of scholarships that you can apply for right now. When you complete a scholarship quest profile on our website, it will pull up the scavenger hunt scholarship information. You will go through our website, answer some questions on that application, and might learn a thing or two about financial aid and college planning along the way. And we do 2 $500 scholarships out of a drawing for all the people that qualify. So again, fill out that scholarship quest profile, find that scavenger hunt scholarship, and get your application in there. Again, no essays or anything like that. It's a drawing for 2 $500 scholarships. We also have our Get Social Scholarship. So if you follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, every time we receive another 250 followers, so if we go from 2,000 to 2,250 or 2,250 to 2,500, we will do a drawing for a $500 scholarship. And that's on all 3 of those. So there's 3 opportunities to do that. And again, you'll get a lot of great information on college planning tips, financial aid, more scholarship information in there also. So it's a great way to keep up with your college planning process while you're having the opportunity for the scholarship. And if you get more of your friends to sign up for it, that's the closer we get to another 250 followers. A lot of information is available to you on educationquest.org. Again, you can start with the My Education Quest account. It's up there in the top right-hand corner. Fill out a little profile about yourself, set up a username and password, and then you can save all your information like your activities resume on there. Scholarship Quest, again, is on there. You can get on there, do the profile, find some great Nebraska-based scholarships on there. We have a lot of great blogs. Those are updated weekly. There's a lot of them in there on scholarships, so you can go through the archive and find more scholarship blogs in there. But again, more great tips on things other than scholarships in our blogs. And we have great teams here at Education Quest that do those. And again, updated every week, so make sure you're checking back. We also have an upcoming events calendar. One thing I want to mention is we have our virtual college fair on March 1st. And it will run from 9 a.m. to 1 a.m. Central Time. And you can get on our website, get registered for the college fair if you weren't registered for one of our fall ones. If you were registered, you can log right back in and talk to the colleges again. It's a great way to find out that information on the colleges that you're interested in. And we'll also have more of the scholarship or webinars on different subjects as we go through the spring here. So more information on award letters and choosing colleges and a lot of different information like that. So if you've enjoyed this broadcast this evening and want to get more information as you go through, you can certainly do that and find out that information on our upcoming events. One other thing I'll point out on there is our countdown to college email service and our college timeline. So if you're wanting to be organized, that's a great way to do that. That timeline will give you the information on that. And our countdown to college email, we send out a monthly email with reminders of things you should be doing. Again, just to keep you on that track to make sure you're not falling behind and you don't have a big push at the end of your senior year there when you're trying to get ready for graduation and everything else. All right, that's what I have for you this evening. I'll throw it back to Jason and see if we have any questions.
Some really good information there, Treve. Thanks for taking the time to share that with all of us. I'm sure that everyone here on the broadcast got some good tips out of that. We do have a couple questions, so we'll kind of run through those. But before we get to that, I didn't have anyone take me up on my offer to guess at how many scholarships there are out there, but for those of you that are wondering the answer to that question that we started with, 1.7 million scholarships were awarded last year, and that's unique awards, it said. So, some of those might be, like Treve said about our scavenger hunt scholarship, where we give away 2 of them. That would have just been 1 scholarship in their database. So 1.7 is a lot. It's billions of dollars that are given away every year. So you'll definitely want to make sure that you use the tips that Treve gave you and take advantage of some of those. We'll start with the first question that we had come in, Treve, and that was, what is the most money I can get in a scholarship?
The most money in a scholarship, that would be determined by the folks that put those out there. There are some really large national ones that are available to students. But again, I would say concentrate on those smaller ones and see how much money you can get throughout scholarships rather than just concentrating on the big ones. As far as the amount you can get, you can't get over the cost of your college semester for your year. So that includes tuition and fees, books and supplies, room and board, personal and transportation expenses. So you can't get over the amount that the school budgets for your costs for the year.
And then that would change depending on which school they went to, right? Like if I'm trying to decide between 2 different schools, that cost of education is going to be different in each school. So my maximum award is going to be different, correct?
Correct. You can obviously, if you have a more costly school, a private school or an Ivy League school, it's going to be more than if you're looking at a public school or a 2-year school, certainly.
So the last question that we had come in was, and if anyone has any questions, by all means, drop them in the chat now. Otherwise, we'll just kind of wrap up with this question, which is, what is the number one reason why someone doesn't get a scholarship?
The number one reason that somebody doesn't get a scholarship is probably missing their deadline. Because if you miss the deadline, you're not even considered for that scholarship. But other than that, I would say just not putting in the time with the essay or the letter of recommendation, because those are going to be things that separate you from the other applicants. And the more you can give specific examples on your essays. If it's a leadership essay, you don't want to say, I was president of my senior class. That doesn't tell me anything, but maybe that you were popular. You want to tell them, what did you do in a leadership role? Did you have a food drive or a coat drive? Did you organize something to help out your community or your school? Be specific in those instances, and that will get you a lot better chance of receiving that scholarship and standing out from the other applicants.
So we had another question come in. Some scholarships require interviews. How do you prepare for them?
Yeah, there very well could be some with interviews. Usually your school counselor can help you with that. They can help you set up mock interviews at your school. That would be probably the best way I would think that you can do that. I know a lot of the school counselors here in Nebraska will help you with that. So if you're looking to get some help with interviews, that would be a great way to do it. Just to kind of follow up on it, there are some other ones that, if you're in art or music or graphic arts or photography, things like that, you may need a portfolio also of your work to show them for your scholarship. So again, as you go through school, make sure you're saving those projects that you do for school, because those can come in handy when you apply for scholarships if you need to show examples of your work.
So here's another good one that came in. Is there a good place to look for scholarships that can be used for room and board, or is that something that most scholarships can be allowed to do?
That's a great question. Most scholarships are set up to be used for anything with college expenses. Some may be specific to tuition, and there are those out there, but most scholarships are just to assist you to pay for college. So there won't be specific to paying for room and board or specific to paying for books, but there are some that may be specific to paying for tuition. But if you receive those They would go towards your tuition and any other scholarships you could use for room and board.
So how about this, Treve? How do I find out if I won a scholarship?
That's going to come from the scholarship provider. So once you've sent in the application, they will contact you if you are selected for the award and let you know how that money will be transferred to the college. Most of that money is going to be sent to the college rather than sent to you. But they should notify you either by email or phone or whatever their contact information is. And you can usually find that out on their website. And many of them will also let you know if you didn't receive that scholarship. So that would be my advice. Just check their website if you haven't heard from them and see where they're at in that process.
I remember that was one of those things that came as a shock to me when I went to school. Was I knew I had received the letters. I knew I'd won scholarships, but I kept going like, "Where's my check?" Right?
Yeah, and that's
I had no idea that it goes to the school. So
yeah, that is handy for the student because all their money's at the school in one place, and they don't have to have 4 or 5 or 10 checks to keep track of during the summer to make sure they get that, and they're not going to spend it before they get to college. So it's a very good thing
for us to do, right?
It's a very good thing that they send that money to the college for the student.
There's some questions here. There's a couple that came in about how they find scholarships. So I'll just reiterate what Treve had said earlier, and then Treve, you can kind of jump in. But in the chat, there's a link to Scholarship Quest, which is our database of scholarships, and they're all local Nebraska-based awards. So that's a good place to start for Nebraska students. On that page, at the bottom of that page, there are national sites that we've researched that our staff feel are good resources for you. So I'd begin with those. And then Treve, do you have any other ones you want to add to that?
Well, again, I would say the school counselor, concentrate on those local ones and those ones that are involved in your school and in your communities. One thing I would also mention is if you're an underclassman, freshman, sophomore, or junior, you can do those searches. There are some underclassmen scholarships out there that you can get as a junior or possibly even a sophomore. But the good thing about that is you can check it as what class you're in now, but you can also do one as a junior, say, and mark in there that you're a senior, and you'll see what's going to be coming up for you the next year, and you'll see what those criteria are, whether it's community service hours or length of time in an activity or GPA or ACT score. So you have that and you have more time to work on that and make sure you meet that eligibility. And then again, for underclassmen, pay attention to what your senior friends are getting this year. Or if you're a senior, talk to your friends that are in college already. What did they apply for? What scholarships did they get? Listen when you have your awards night or your graduation and find out what's out there for students at your school and what those students are receiving.
Yeah, really good tips there. Well, that's all we have. So I want to thank Treve for giving us all this great information. I hope that all of you found something useful out of it. And thank you for taking the time to come listen to us. And we appreciate that. If you're on YouTube, definitely subscribe to our page. We have a ton of great content and we continually put out videos to help you get to college. So you don't want to miss any of those when we post those. And like Treve said, we are continuing to give away our Get Social Awards. So jump over to Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, like us on all those pages, increases your odds of finding those and being able to apply to those. And keep applying to those whenever we post that we're giving away another award. We do it every 250 people, so we're rolling through those pretty quick. So just keep an eye on those pages and those feeds, and you should see that. And hopefully we'll see you again for another broadcast in the future.